Good morning and welcome to uh, a beautiful day in paradise. I wanted to share a few thoughts in so far as a new year for 2021. You may be listening to this far past that, but the principles remain true. One thing that I will often hear is is that, oh, I'm so glad this past year is over. What a horrible year we've had, and good riddance to the old. And it's, boy, I'll tell you what, it sure can't get any worse. Well, that is absolutely wrong. One thing I've learned is that things can always get worse until a lot of people work together to make them better. Things don't get better all by themselves, but they can easily get worse from malign neglect. The COVID, there is plenty of bad news and plenty of deniers to make that bad news worse. There's your experience with COVID will depend on how much money you have and whether your skin is white or black. That's been the case in the United States forever, forever and ever. That's been the case. It's sickening to say so, but if you are Donald Trump, then you will receive the best socialized medicine the world has ever seen. You will get tests regularly and as many as you want, and they will be done quickly, and you will not have to pay for them. And if you ever have a positive test, then uh, that means that the illness has not had a chance to go and affect your systems within your body. You are detected early. Your symptoms and your COVID infection is detected very early. At which point, you may decide to go to the hospital, and if you do, your income will not stop. Your employer will not fire you. You'll keep on getting your income just as you did before. And once an aircraft uh, flies you to the airport, then you will receive dedicated care from a team of doctors, and you will receive the latest therapies that are unavailable to the great majority of Americans. And that team of doctors will watch you carefully and give you everything that you need. And upon your not terribly unpredictable recovery, you will be flown back to your home, at which point you'll be able to show everyone that this COVID disease isn't really that bad. However, if you are a bozo citizen, maybe like me, maybe like you, then if you want to be tested, you will go to your local Meta Mini Mart and walk in the door, as I saw people doing, and say, I took a COVID test, and the person would say, all right, give us your phone number, go back out and wait in your car. And I looked it up online, and people were saying, I've been out in this car for 2 hours. I've been out in this car for an hour and a half. And then once they are ready to give you your test, you'll come in and you'll pay for it. Uh, and if and it takes a lot of courage, because if you are found to be positive, then for the great majority of people in the United States, that means your income stops, and your copay and deductible begins on your medical care, on your medical insurance, if you have medical insurance. The But the main problem immediately is that you cannot buy food, you cannot pay your rent, you cannot buy gasoline, the diapers for the baby. Uh, it's a big issue, and in my opinion, it's no wonder that many people really do not would rather not be tested. And if they find that they are sick, maybe it's better. You might get well. There's a good chance you'll get well all by yourself without seeking out medical care. Because if you seek out medical care, there's money going out, and there's a cessation of money coming in. Then you'll go to the hospital if you decide to when things get bad. And but at that point, for many Americans, you've gone there when your body's systems are greatly affected, and that is what has in a sense driven you, not flown you, but driven you with a whip to the hospital. At that point, you will get the same care that all the other Americans get, and you will get the same therapies, the same medicines that all the other people get as well. Then, if you recover, then you will be responsible for your own therapies that are necessary from that point on. In other words, there are many people with great morbidities left over after they have left the possibility of mortality. And morbidity meaning continued disabilities, and you will be left to cope with it. So it is possible that in 2021 things could get much better, but it would require three things. It would require unity of people to work together to make things better, because things do not get better on their own. They get better when people work together. Unity does not give power and money to a partisan political group. Division is what cranks up the money out of people to send in to their favorite political party. Unity is what works for the entire country's good, and you can accomplish great things with unity, but you do not accomplish partisan political advancement that way. So the first thing would be unity. Goodness, if you were making a prediction, would you see it coming? I certainly would not. Secondly, it requires leadership. It requires government. We do not get to choose between government and no government. We only get to choose between good government and bad government. If you have 12 people living together, you will have some sort of government. Certainly with 50, certainly with 1,000 and on up. You will have government among the people who live there. And so you must have government that works to, not on the basis of an ideology to justify what they've already decided they want to do, that is, accrue money and power to themselves, but instead looks at the difficulties and problems that a country faces and works with men both of goodwill and wisdom to think through what can be done to address the difficulties. Third, you have to be willing to look at the facts as they are, rather than the facts that will support what you've already decided you want to do. That is, accrue money and power for yourself. The Russians are working hard, very hard, against both the government, against people's faith in government. Government is not the problem. Men who are working to accrue power and money for themselves, that's the problem. Moral evil is the problem. Working to shove people down because we know we live in a meritocracy, and those who have succeeded are the ones who must continue to succeed, because we know that the fact that they succeeded gives them superior merit. And so these are the people who must decide our course. There is nobody, there is no thought-through philosopher in the history of the world that has ever agreed with that. In fact, most men have agreed that wealth is corrosive to morals. Now, it can happen, but things can get better. Things really can. Uh, um, you may recall, shoot, I'll show my nerd credentials, that after Saruman was put out of the way, that everyone worked together to make the Shire a better and better place. And it became a garden because everyone worked together to make that the case. It can happen. Obamacare happened. Who in the world would have predicted that? I certainly would have. I would never have predicted we would ever have a black president. That is not in my lifetime. And millions and millions of people now have access to medical care that didn't have access before. It's a minor miracle, in my opinion, but it happened. And 2021 could be a wonderful, wonderful year. Boy. But if past performance is any indication of future results, I see things getting very, very bad. Even if we figure out the logistics of vaccine distribution, it seems that there are enough people who have taken this as a political issue to greatly cripple the effectiveness of herd immunity based on a vaccine. And that's where I see the new year going. And I hope that I'm wrong.